Welcome into Magical You. I am excited today. We're going to be talking about April back with Rhonda Reif, my numerologist that I've had on many shows. And we are going to find out April's like a really big month in many ways. And astrology wise, it is. And just in general, it's the first month of the first zodiac. So we're going to find out about numbers through Rhonda here. Welcome on, Rhonda.
Hello, Vickie. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited today. Yeah, we have so much going on. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff about the war. We have, astrology wise too. There's a big fiery planet. We're in Aries. It's the first of the zodiac sign of the month. So yeah, let's talk numbers. What's coming up from your world?
So Aries again rules is Mars rules the planet of wars and stuff. But first I want to start off with, because if people are
Oh,
watching
that's
this
good.
before April 1st, tomorrow is a magical day. Not only is it April Fool's Day, but this particular year, because we're in a year one, is going to be tomorrow's going to be 411. So tomorrow's a perfect day to do things, to ask for like information. And we're going to have, now tomorrow's the first one. There's more that are going to come up throughout the month. So you're going to look at like the 10th, because that would be 411 again. The 11th would be 4111, so there's in with that. And then we're going to have like the 19th, because that again, 1 plus 9 is 10. So 411 again. And then the 28th would be 411 again, because 2 plus 8 is 10. So those are going to be the days that you're going to have the ability to just, that's the day to ask your guides, ask for help, not just your guides, but also people, maybe general around with that too. Those are the days that you can just tap into that kind of information and see, what is it that they want you to know? Help me find this. What's the direction I should do? Those are the days to ask those kinds of questions. So that's kind of magical this month, because we that 411 is for information, right? And then we were talking a little before the show. We've got some astrological things that are going on. So we're going to have that shift where it's going to have the Uranus is going to leave Taurus, and it's going to come into then Gemini, which is the number of communications. So that happens, I believe, on the 25th, which that particular day adds up to a 3. And 3 is the number of communications. So there's the numbers again with that. But then again, that's a day that you can ask for extra guidance and those things. We're going to transition into communication. So you're going to see that theme that's going to happen. And again, I think this Uranus transit, this Uranus era that we're getting ready to move into only happens once
I'm
every
happy
80
about
years.
that.
Yes, yes, every 80 years.
Well, it's been in mine. It's been in Taurus. So it was
And
in
in
Taurus for the
Taurus.
last 7 years. And now it's going out. So yay!
Yes,
Because
yes, because
it was a hard 7 years.
it,
And
it
yeah, so now
was.
it's moving into Gemini. Yeah.
And it was about money and agriculture and environment, all the things that we were discussing. And now it's going to go into technology and innovation. And again, with this being an astrological, the first time of the zodiac number one, and then we're in a personal year, a universal year one. That's going to be great. All of these really, you're going to see like a lot of changes and things that are like innovative and that kind of thing that are happening the rest of 2026. But
So
for
can I
April,
ask you a question? Because I know about the number four from you. Four is not like anytime I'm like, okay, because my last name used to be Emmanuel, which was a number four. And I just remember you're like, okay, hard work. And it was hard work being married with that last name. And one of the reasons, I mean, I wanted my maiden name back anyways, but it did shift too, back from I was a four back to my maiden name at 33, which back to master number. So I think that's very interesting. But I want to know, since April is a four, you know, does that mean it's a hardship or it's work or what?
it's fours are all about details. They're not as detailed as an 8. The 4 is more about stability, integrity, trust, truth. Those are sort of the more positive traits. And then, of course, hard work, details, structure, keeping commitments, all of those things are going to be important in the month of April. So we're coming out of a month 3, which is March, which is all about fun and play. And now we're coming in to do the hard work. And we've got to do that hard work this month so that next month we're going to have more of that freedom and that kind of thing with that. So, this is when we're planting the flowers, but they're going to bloom in May. So this is when we
Okay.
plant those ideas of
So we
what we
do
want.
work. Like
We
we
do work.
do work. We get those, what you want to launch. This is the month to like gather their info. I mean, it's tax time too. So think of
Yes.
that, right? So it's
Yes.
a big time to gather information, put it together and things like that.
And the biggest thing is to keep your commitments, like, even if they're to yourself or they're to other people, and speak your truth, because this also has to do with, being honest with people and having integrity. So it's not just, but that goes along with keeping your commitments, like, don't just say, yeah, yeah, I'll help you. And then you had no intention of doing it. You just didn't want to have the conflict. No, this is the month where you put your nose to the grindstone and you finish things. You try to get things, that are getting ready so that you can have the things that are going to blossom or bloom or succeed in the future months that were coming. And with this being a year one universally with a 4 work, this is the month then that you're going to be doing the hard work to start new things. So if you're
Okay.
just thinking of launching something or writing your
I've
book,
been doing that. Yeah.
this is the month then that you want to get those details, dot the I's and cross the T's to get ready then for that launch that's going to happen this whole year that's going on with that. So that's kind of, the energy of that, combining it with the universal year one. And, again, there's going to be some other dates that are going to come up, because April 4th is the 4th month. And then on any day that's a 4 this month, then it's going to have a 441 kind of information, which is, it's a 9. So it's going to be about finishing things so that you can start anew. And again, those are like the 4th and the 13th and the 22nd. And the 22nd will have a really strong vibration because it's a master number day as well. So those are the days that you're going to really want to buckle down and try to get some things done and kind of completed so that you can have things that are going on with that too. So it's a strong
But what
manifesting
about
month.
Easter? I'm thinking, what about Easter?
Yeah, so Easter would be the 5th of the month. So it's going to be a 1. It's a 1 date. So it's going to be about starting new things. That's the time with that. But again, it's about hard work. So that might be when whatever that project is that you've been putting off, whether it's researching for a book or doing laundry, that's the day that you're going to want to start that particular thing and get it into motion. Might not be the day that you complete it or even get anything done. It might just be the day you make out your list. It's about
Okay.
that starting the project. It's taking that first step kind of thing with that energy of the 4 kind of pushing you. And when I do my readings, I always tell people that the 4, if you're a 4, the 4 is the kind of energy that if you were going to help somebody with a graduation party or in a retirement party, and you're flying there to see them, and your plane crashes in the ocean, and you've broken your arm, and there's sharks all around you, you're still going to find the flotation device and paddle with your good arm because you made the promise to help them. That's the 4
So
energy.
it's determination.
That's the
It's
intensity,
determination.
and keeping that promises, keeping whatever it is that you had your promises, because you want to utmost have that integrity. You want to keep your, what you said you would do. So it's definitely that. It's not a time to wibble wobble on your commitments or, what you're going to do. So that's the energy basically of the 4. And then with us being in Aries for part of the month, again, it's we're fire sign year one. Aries is a fire sign. So we're having that in the month of April as well. And it's a little different too, because with these transits of these eras and things that are shifting, it's actually considered a yang fire. And so in Chinese medicine, this particular month is a yang fire. So in Chinese medicine, you have yin, which is feminine, and yang, which is more masculine. So this particular month, you're going to see that influx of more masculine kinds of things. Like instead of like, if you were to get into a more feminine kind of fight, you might just kind of huff about it and complain about it, but kind of go on. Where masculine kind of energy into a discussion or discourse would be maybe that you'd throw punches, or you'd get a little more heated, or you'd, be more physical about it, because that's just, and I'm talking energy, not just gender roles.
Right,
So,
right,
so
right,
that
right.
has to do with it. And it also is about giving again. So, we receive through the left and put out through the right. So it's more assertive, more aggressive. It's a more aggressive thing, and Aries is a more aggressive thing. So this particular month, you're going to see things that are going to have that where poof, like it's going to be instant. Your tempers are going to flare, all of that. And we're seeing it in the political
Agitated,
climate.
yeah. Yeah, well, I was wondering about that. So let's talk about that. So, I mean, especially with the fiery. So, if it's agitated, we have the war stuff going on, and, we're feeling agitated too. I mean, probably more riots, probably more, I mean, the wars probably will be intensified too.
Yes, and so especially because Aries is the planet of war, that or the god of war. The Mars is the planet that rules Aries, and so it's the planet of war, and then Aries is the god of war. So yeah, no small thing that on the 31st that we did all of the, like, there's massive bombing and stuff going on over there, and a lot of stuff like they're
So
just dumping.
I didn't know this because
Yes.
I don't know anything with the news. So why just today? And you're saying because it also lines up with the numbers, it doesn't
It,
surprise you?
it doesn't surprise me because the 31st, 3 plus 1 is a 4. So there you have,
Oh,
yeah, so there you have the 5 and then 6, 7, 8. So today's an 8 day, which is lessons of money, structure, force, retentiveness. And what are wars? But they're expensive, right? It's very expensive, not only
right.
in
Well, they make
equipment,
money too on
they
Moors. They
do.
make money too,
They do.
right? So it's a
Yeah.
big money maker.
But even in
Well, let me
lives,
ask you that too. I want to ask that, especially since we're tax time. Like, what about April 15th? But what about tax time when you say like today's an 8 and it's tax time or it's paying things? Is it time to pay bills or not pay bills?
yes. Yeah, yeah, it's
Excuse
a
me.
time to pay bills. And especially right now, we're still with that Taurus in Uranus, and that was all about finances and the money system and all that kind of stuff. So you have a lot of that going until up about the 25th of April. So now's a really good time with the tax time, the 15th, all of those things. Of course, you can always file for an
I owe
extension.
taxes, and I was thinking today to pay the big bill I got. So I was like, maybe I'll pay it today. So today's a good day to pay it.
It is. Today's a good day for money all around, either lessons of
Okay.
money, however it is, whether it's coming in or going out, And as you know,
Okay.
you say, I lovingly pay this money, right? So that you're
Right.
expressing gratitude for the debt that you have. And the other thing I just want to remind everybody, especially because of this war thing, the price of gas, all of those things are expensive right now. Things are jacked up because of everything that's going on over there.
Mm.
This is a year one, universal. Expect more of this the next 9 years. This is not going away. And
Wow.
it's not going away. Like you're going to see this. It might be a roller coaster coming through, but you're going to see these lessons of conflict, strife, finances, all of those things that are going on right now. Everything that we're affecting this whole year, not just in April, but this whole year is going to go on. It carries that energy for 9 years. So we can't do anything about what's going on in the other side of the world, except hopefully send positive energy to it. But whatever you're doing in your life, take notice, because you're setting that energy, that tone, that frequency for the next 9 years until we have another year one.
So let's talk about that, just like get a little bit deeper for people too. So that means, people that have never ever don't even are new to energy and new to all this. So when you say starting the energy, that means what for the next 9 years?
So whatever it is that you're putting your focus on is going to carry through. Whatever's going on in your
So
life.
if you're putting your focus on like a relationship and you're like, oh, I want to get married. I met this guy, we're getting married, or girl, whatever. Or if I want to start my own new career and I'm starting a business and that's the focus. So that's going to be your focus for the next 9 years.
That you're going to carry that same energy through. So it could even be that every year you feel like you need to start something new or make changes.
Oh,
And it could also be about leaving things behind too. So if you're like, okay, I'm not putting up with not getting paid for overtime anymore. So you finally put your foot down, you set your boundary, that energy is going to carry through. Then you're setting that particular goal or parameter or focus for the next 9 years, starting
so
this
it
year.
sounds like boundaries is a great focus to do because anytime you set your boundaries, it's all across the board, right? And then
Yes.
that's when you get what you want and you manifest more when you're not settling and just say, no, I'm not gonna do this.
And again, your perspective. Okay, so like I could look at myself, for those of you that don't know, like I started out the year in the hospital. So I could look at it as, oh my God, I'm going to spend the next 9 years in the hospital. I'm taking it as I had a wake up call and I'm going to spend the next 9 years focusing on my health. So
Right.
so how not only what happens, but the spin that you put on it and the mental attitude that you have towards it also will affect that. Because we all know those people that are poor me's, like they're the ones that you see at the grocery store and you're like, oh, I'm going to go down another aisle, right? Because you don't want to ask them how they're doing, because they're going to tell you like this happened, that happened. The people
Right.
that focus on those tragedies like that, then that's what they're going to keep getting over and over, because your focus is
Right.
there. So this is the year, clean slate and everything that we do, but it's gonna affect that kind of thing. So yeah, you can start new things. So maybe it is that you start your book. Maybe it'll mean that you're going to take 9 years to write your book, but it also could mean that every year you're going to write a new book for the next 9 years. So,
Wow.
again,
Very
it
cool.
has how you're given clay. We're given a clay, molding clay, and how we shape it and form it right now is going to determine what pieces we get out of that, whether it's a vase, an ashtray, or just a clump for the next 9 years.
Well, yeah, I'm going to do like abundance then. I'm not going to do a
Yes.
clump. So, so focus, in other words, focus the energy on the positivity and on what you want to grow.
Yes, yes, that. And again, also though, watch for the signs of things that are happening now to know that then you can plan that this is going to happen maybe the next, 9 years, that that energy is going to carry over, or that circumstance or whatever. So for instance, plan ahead of what you're going to do as far as investments go, or even, like maybe you're going to plant a bigger garden because you don't like the cost of produce in the store, those kinds
Oh,
of
I
things.
like that. Right.
So those are the things too, because the cost of living is very high. So how you look at that, maybe you think, you know what, I don't want to be stuck with all this mortgage and these bills and everything. I'm going to sell my house and get an RV, and then that'll carry you through like for the next 9 years as a way. But then the cost of gas is a little higher too. So just it's about planning, but seeing what else is going on in the world then gives you a clue so that you can be prepared, so you're not caught in a big surprise next year when something happens, because each year will be different. So right now we're in the year one and we're starting, but next year we'll be in a year two. So what we do, like for instance, if we don't get rid of, if we're in an abusive relationship, whether they're a narcissist or they're violent, or even a work relationship where you're not happy, you stay there this whole year. Next year, when we're into a thing of partnerships and relationships and partnerships with your job or whatever, that's going to magnify. Then that's what you're going to experience in that year.
Yikes.
Then in the year three, it would be like, so if you spent the whole year like not having fun and sitting at home by yourself, then in the year three, you're going to go, well, gosh, where's my social calendar? So every year it's going to match up,
It's
like
going to build.
it's going to
It's going to
repeat.
build. I
Right.
feel like when you're saying that, I'm seeing maybe people could visualize, building a home. So your foundation right now, what is your
Yes.
foundation? Is it strong and powerful and positive, or is it stress? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing. Awesome. Okay, so I mean, this is kind of exciting times. Then we never had this. I mean, for a long time. So when you were also saying that, I see a lot of people moving. When you were saying that, I feel like a lot of people are just going to want a different energy. So maybe they might move across the world, or a different country, or a different state. Especially right now with the United States collapsing. I feel there's going to be a lot of change within that too.
Yes, because we're in a year change. And then again, also because of all of these astrological things that are going on with us moving, because I don't think that this will, Uranus will not be back in a Taurus for almost 80 years. So I think
I should be
2100,
dead. I should be
2106 or
dead by then.
2102 is, it won't be back. We're going to be gone, right? So most of us will be gone.
But isn't this a good thing? Because Uranus has been in Taurus, which I'm a Taurus, and I'm happy that it's going out.
Yes, because it's a lot of like finances, and that's why we're seeing all of the change
It
in.
wasn't just financial for me. It was actually kind of good for me financial, but I'm like thinking there was a lot of other stuff in Earth, right? And in
Yes,
reality, and there was a lot of shakeups. So I'm
yes,
wondering too with Uranus, and I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm wondering with it going into Gemini. I do know Gemini. I have a son that's a Gemini, so I know Gemini too is air and Earth, and a lot of AI going like crazy and stuff too. But then, so what happens to the Earth?
well, so Gemini's an air sign. So
I
now,
know.
so the Earth, but see, the Earth is the structure and the foundation. So think of
But
it
the Earth
as,
is going to do better. Like, will it? Like, I'm thinking there's going to be something when it leaves. Like, there has to be like earthquakes, explosions and stuff like that.
and we've been having that this last 7 years. So think of it as
Yeah,
that foundation of the Earth has just completely shaken up, just like an earthquake. And that's what's happened. It's been very unpredictable with this Uranus and Taurus. As we move into Gemini, then we're going to move into air, which air has to deal with things of creativity, innovation, communication. So you're going to see a lot of new creative things, but also it deals with air. So you're going to see things with the mind. Uh, it's going to deal with
absolutely.
with
Consciousness.
mental things, even things within the sky. So, this might be when we meet with other alien beings coming in from the sky, because it's an air kind of sign. And air is where we create, but earth is where we bring it into reality. So that is
Right.
no longer going to be there. It's going to be where you're going to be in a more creative cycle for the next 7 years. And then fire, which is kind of exciting because fire and air are compatible. So this year, then, with this happening to
Bonfires.
move,
Yeah.
with that is that we're already in this fire sign with this Asian New Year. right now with, Aries, but then we're going to have time again with Leo and then coming up with Sagittarius again. So August and December, we're going to have that fire sign again that's going to fuel this air that we're coming into. So again, then we're going to see things that maybe more we're going to have, like if we were talking about earthquakes and those kinds of things under earth, we're going to see more fire kinds of things or things that come from the sky, like tornadoes, hurricanes, things that
Oh,
deal,
oh,
with,
good.
yeah,
Yeah, but that makes sense too, totally. But then I'm thinking since it's in fire too, because I've been seeing a lot of fires, especially in April.
yes,
Fires, probably like big fires, probably explosive, like explosive energy.
because wind feeds fire. You see,
Yeah.
wind feeds the fire, but it can
Well,
also
let's hope it's
sometimes,
not like bombs. Let's hope
well,
it's not.
and I just want to diverse here just a little bit and share a story about the bombs. We live where I live, just the next little town over, little tiny town. I don't even think there's probably 100 people that
In
live
Iowa. You're in
in
Iowa.
Iowa. Well, I wasn't necessarily going to say that in case there's people listening from but we have one of the major bomb factories in the United States, and we were big with the
Interesting.
atomic situation, and then we are probably an hour and a half from Rock Island, Illinois, which is I'm right on the Iowa border, Illinois Iowa border, and it is the arsenal, which is where all of these munitions are stored. And so last month, well, March, a couple of weeks ago, they had an immediate thing where absolutely everybody had to exit both the Rock Island Arsenal and our ordnance plant where these bombs, and we actually helped build parts for the atomic bombs during World War II. So there's been all kinds of cancer rates and all of that kind of thing as a result of it. But the
Uh,
situation is they cleared everybody out. Like everybody had to go. I don't ever remember that ever happening in my
and they
lifetime.
never said why.
Well, eventually, the first they didn't say why, everybody. And so at that particular time, my friend who lives in Texas said she had texted me and she goes, I don't know what's going on, but there's been military planes flying over our house all day long, in. And I'm like, well, guess what? They closed down our bomb factory. And then I found out that they closed down the arsenal at the same time. So then eventually they did, and they could not go back to work. They've been off, like, I've never heard that either. Like, nobody could go back to work for a couple of weeks. They didn't even know when they were going to go back. And then they finally admitted that they had discovered during a safety thing that there was some very highly explosive stuff that was carried over from like the 50s to the 80s of last millennium, 1950 to 1980s, that they had stored in these little Quonset huts. But at the same time, drones went missing and on the East Coast that were flying over military bases. Now, the press release said that it was because of this highly explosive materials that they wanted to dispose of it, and they wanted to make sure, because I guess apparently it's the equivalent of like a chalk line amount of it could level an entire building, and apparently an explosion like that did happen back in 1980 here that I don't remember happening, but I do know there have been explosions there. So take with it what you want, but I think there was probably definitely something more going on than what was put into the
Oh,
press
for
release.
sure. For sure.
So
And they're not going to ever tell you. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just
And yeah, I'm just wondering that too. Like in April, I mean, around Easter, I mean, for 28 years, I've been predicting, and always around Easter, even before we're in war, I've always seen, talks always with the different people, with the different countries of war. So now we're in it. And, it's probably going to intense. I mean, I feel it's going to intensify for sure.
absolutely it's going to intensify, and they did issue a press release saying that they had to talk with all of the people that were purchasing these munitions, that there was going to be a delay. So I thought that that was interesting, that it was so severe whatever was going on that they didn't want, and of course they said you're safe, everybody in the community is safe, but across somebody in their lack of forethought of planning allowed an ethanol plant, which of course, if you're not from Iowa, you maybe don't know, ethanol is an alternative that's added to gasoline. It's a gasoline alternative that has
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
10% corn in it, from corn. So there's this highly explosive ethanol plant right across the highway from this ordnance plant with the bombs. And so we have a fertilizer plant that's 8 miles away too, which is highly explosive as well. So nobody planned very well that if there's going to
So
be
you should
something
be
that's going to happen,
moving.
I should probably, right? Because we're definitely going to be on that zone of like, if something happens, poof, it's going to happen. But even little things like that, you're going to see with this whole fire year. Like you said, wind feeds fire, and that's what we're going into for the next 8 years. So So yeah, so you're gonna have, and again, it could be passion as well. Like there could be a lot of passion of for your job or for
Right.
your relationship or with that thing too. I don't want to just talk about bombs and
Right.
explosives.
No, well, we kind of went on to the war. Yeah. So I'm thinking the war is going to get a little bit more tense,
It will.
especially around Easter and
Yes.
then for, well, yeah, let me ask about that too with the numbers, because I always see this around Easter. But, is there anything with more of the middle of April, beginning of April, end of April, where the numbers are going to like show more fiery, spicy energy?
Well, the 17th, I think, is when they're having this massive, I think it's called stellium or something that's happening with astrological, where there's eight
Oh, yeah.
planets,
Yeah.
seven major planets, and then a dwarf planet, which is Eris, but which I hadn't necessarily heard of. But so there's eight planets, and so then eight again. That 8 is an anal retentive number. It is actually a very powerful number.
Mm.
It's not just about money. I mean, it's also about that making sure that the 8 is like a very like almost like military. Like it's so structured. You don't move one little thing one way or the other. Like it's all these rules and it's all of these things that you're going to have. So when we have that, which is the 17th and 1 plus 7 is an 8, then you're going to look at that there's all of this, plus then there's 8 planets that are going on. And then it's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's going to be a 13-4 day. So it's going to have a lot of things with doing with, again, that structure, dependability, integrity, reliability, all of that kind of stuff. So the 17th is going to be a really intense day that we're going to feel it all over the planet because all of these planets are lining up. There's 8 of them. We're in this masculine kind of 8 structure, like we have to do things a certain way kind of thing. And then we're in the lessons of hard month with that too. So the month of April is all about, doing hard work and being stable and that kind of stuff too. So definitely the 17th would be a day that I would think would be sort of an intense day with that. And then probably just because we're shifting from Taurus to Gemini, that might be the day that you see a lot of like possibly, because of air again, missile strikes, air strikes, that might shift rather than maybe ground strikes because right now we're in Earth. And so, we have
Oh, got it.
ground strike, so there could be the difference with that as well.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. I have a goddess retreat on Anna Maria Island here in Florida, and it's April 22nd to the 27th. So how's that?
Well, the 22nd again is a master number, so that's a really good day with that.
Ah, that's true. I totally
So
forgot about
yeah,
that.
and then the 27th would be 9, 10, 14. So it's a 5 day. So you're going to start on a 9 day. So that might be the day that your goddesses are leaving behind, like what they came there to fix. Do you know
That's
what I
so
mean?
funny because that's what we do. We start with the letting go day. That is the
Yes.
first day. It's the
So
burning ceremony.
so that's
Yeah.
perfect. And then expect it because the people then that you're going to attract with that particular date are going to be people that the 22 is about the master builder. It's about 11 is about teaching people, but 22 is about teaching other people who will teach. So this might be people then that are
Nice.
going to have like you're building that platform of, and it doesn't mean that they're going to do a class like you're going to do, but they might go share like you're not going to believe what I learned. Like that's a form of teaching as well too. So
Right.
you'll have that energy, and then the 27th, of course, 2 plus 7 is a 9, so you're ending it on that. But then it also happens to be a 5 day, which now you have this new freedom. Think of like the butterfly.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, because I never know. It is funny. I was actually going to start the goddess retreat on the 23rd, but this house is so nice and it's a luxury house, like everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give everybody a one more day. So I think that's pretty cool how it started on the 22nd. And I didn't even plan that. I never plan all my goddess retreats. They just kind of find me. So I think that's pretty cool on how it matches up with your numbers.
Well, and again, keep in mind that because you're a very connected individual to your higher self, your guides, your energy, all of that, any of us, the numbers are always working in the background, whether we
Right.
consciously pick them or not.
Right.
But if you kind of know ahead of time, now you know, like, yes, this is absolutely perfect. I'm in alignment because sometimes we pick a day to travel and then we think, why the hell, everything went wrong. This was canceled. That happened. They lost my luggage. Like you think so. If you kind of have that little thing ahead of time to go, oh yeah, this day might be better than that day, to travel or to start something new or whatever. It
Right.
just helps you as an extra tool. But also know that you have this thing because you feel this like sort of magnetic pull towards when you know that you're on the
Right.
right path. If you honor that, sometimes it's hard to doubt your,
Oh, I
follow your
always, yeah,
intuition.
always with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am very into the numbers. Like I can just feel certain numbers, like this will be good, not be good. Yeah. So I love that. All right. Well, it sounds like April is going to be a change month,
Yes. Yes.
heated, spicy,
And
getting a
expect
little bit more intense with the war.
intense with the war. And then also, though, changes in the war. Like you might start to see more technology stuff when we go into this Uranus in
Oh,
Gemini. But also think of it as, we talked about the foundation, that Earth is the foundation. And one more thing, I just want to backtrack a little bit. You see, we moved our warships in when we were in Pisces over there, which is the sea. We moved the ships during the water sign. And that's when the strait got closed down over there for the oil to get out, was during a water sign. So now then we're in a fire sign. So now expect to be with that. And then when we get ready to go into Taurus, things will be more, conflict will be more like via the earth, that kind of thing. So everything's going to shift with that, but just look at the planets and how that affects that as well. But definitely this four, think of it as the foundation, that now you're laying the bricks so that the rest of the year, the rooms are going to start to take shape. So
I
that's
love it.
that's about that. Don't just think of it as, oh my God, I got to do all this hard work and keep all these commitments. Think of it as you're laying the foundation's already there. We started that in
You're
January.
building. Yeah.
You're
Instead of
building.
saying I'm getting it done, you're
You're
like, no,
building.
I'm building my future.
Yes. Yes.
I like that. All
Well,
right. Well, thank you, Rhonda.
Ella says hello to
Perfect
everybody.
timing. Says hi. And if people want to get a hold of you for a private reading, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can go to RhondaReif.com, RhondaReif.com, and they can find my email. They can do all that. Facebook, absolutely easy way. It's under Rhonda D. Reif if you're looking to private message me. I know some people say, like, I found you on Rhonda Reif. That's my professional page. You might have to find me though through Rhonda D. Reif if you're looking to message me, or you can go through Vickie,
Yeah.
but
Always come to me. Yeah.
but if you go through my website, it's everything. Like you can just, there's a little banner that you can click on and it takes you right to the different things. So that's probably the
Awesome.
easiest.
And we're going to do next podcast is going to be very interesting because we're going to talk about how numbers do your health too, and
Yes.
how
Yes.
that aligns together, which is very interesting and intriguing. And I know that will help a lot of people too.
Yes.
So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. Have a magical day, everyone.
Bye.